Hey everyone, just giving it one moment. In just a moment. Hey everyone, technical resident Christian Roberson here, and I'm saying welcome to CyberTank. This is a very new thing. It's an e-home for emerging artists. On Friday, the Tank, a nonprofit home to over 2,500 artists, went dark for at least a month. And in advance with abundance of caution and solidarity with our peer theaters in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Tank is a unique nonprofit organization because of the sheer volume of work that is performed there means that ticket sales make up a greater percentage of our organizational budget than most often off-Broadway spaces. We estimate that the Tank lost somewhere $50,000 worth of ticket sales this month. This shutdown, while brutal for the organization and for emerging artists across the world, it has opened up a new opportunity to reconsider theatricality and how it has traditionally existed, and how it could exist as a more accessible and communal way, both during and beyond the pandemic. So, welcome to CyberTank. This is an e-home for emerging artists. It'll be a weekly, remote, multidisciplinary arts gathering that is publicly shared. This week, the first week, is a fundraiser and a bit of an experiment, so bear with us. Everything has been created very quickly, and we're learning as we go. It'll be a little fast and loose, and hopefully we'll bring in just a bit of money for not only the Tank, but for the artist featured. So this whole process addresses the question, how do we choose community over despair? You know? So first up is a message from our artistic director, Megan Finn.
Hey, crazy art makers. It's time to make some art. I can't wait to watch this CyberTank and see what everybody's got cooking. We're going to get through this one nutty artist to one nutty artist at a time. Peace and love. Welcome to CyberTank.
Hey again. So our next thing up is from, Tank legend, famously, Kev Barry. He's a resident artist, and he also runs the Fast and Furious series at the Tank, and here's his piece.
Hey everyone, this is Tank Associate Artist Kev Berry coming at you from Washington Heights. Day 2 of quarantine. I got laid off from my job last night. Strange time to be alive, strange time to be an American, strange time to be an artist. So I decided that every day I'm going to add to a document that I'm working on currently called For the Sake of Heaven, and it's a project of unclear scale that is going to try to capture this thing on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to write a couple pages a day in it, add any sort of monologues that I've been commissioned to write as a side hustle during this to this document, and so that hopefully by the end of it we'll have a good picture of what it was like for an artist, me, to live through this. So this is called Day 2, Adjustment and Curry. I've been thinking about all of my groceries for the last 20 minutes or so, just sitting here, not doing anything, just sitting here, and maybe that's okay. I think it's okay that I've just been kind of zoning out because, look, this sucks. And I know I said I wasn't going to write about the hard time we're going through or complain about the hard time we're going through, and I'm not complaining. I'm stating an objective fact, and the objective fact is that this fucking sucks. I think there's going to be an adjustment period from me being upset about this situation, about this worldwide health crisis, and only writing about it because it's the only thing my brain will let me think about, to being okay with writing about things that aren't about the thing we're going through because we need to escape, to being desperate to write about anything but the thing we're going through, because to write about the thing we're going through might be something that gets lost in the middle and in the shuffle and in the crowd and in all of it and all of the people trying to write about the thing we're going through. And maybe my thoughts about the thing we're going through aren't as interesting or poetic, lyrical, whatever, as someone else's, but I just want to capture something that makes someone feel seen right now, feel less alone, and through all of that, through all of wanting me wanting to make someone feel seen, I sat there for about 20 minutes this afternoon thinking about my groceries and about whether or not adding baby kale greens to my curry simmer sauce that I bought during a trip to Superfood Town to prepare for the end times would make it healthier. And I thought about all of the odd combinations of food I have at my disposal, like kale and curry. Will that be good? Will that be bad? Is ricotta cheese an acceptable substitute for sour cream if I make quesadillas or fajitas? Why did I buy so much cheese and so little protein? Well, I brought so little protein because there wasn't much left at Superfood Town after everyone's apocalypse panic shopping spree, which I couldn't afford until a couple days ago because I'm paycheck to paycheck in a capitalist world, you see. Luckily, I put out the call when I was struggling last week to come to terms with the idea that I would likely be losing my job this week. I saw a friend putting out a call where he said for $5 he'd cover a song for you. I decided to put that idea to my use in my own way and charge different amounts for different types of writing. And so here I am, thankful that my network of supporters heard my call and answered it. And so here I am writing about the thing yesterday I swore in my journal I wouldn't write about, but yesterday the world was a different place, and today it feels like we're waiting for an explosion to happen, or we're watching an explosion happen in real-time slow motion, like a hydraulic press video, and we're at the point now where the chocolate fudge has been compressed just out of view, and we're waiting for it to shoot up through those holes in the hammer of the pressed chocolate noodles exploding for days. And so here I am working on what I said I wouldn't, because last night I got laid off from my job, and I found out I got laid off from my job via an Instagram DM. I want to make it clear that I wasn't directly laid off via an Instagram DM, but that's how I found out. I work for, or rather I guess I worked for, before all of this, I worked for a restaurant group, a pretty famous restaurant group with some legendary spots around town. I worked as a reservationist for a high-end restaurant group, and over the course of the last week, there have been hour-to-hour changes, and there was no transparency whatsoever besides asking us to bear with the powers that be in the upper management sector of the group. And by the nature of my group, I am very close with a few members of the teams who actively work the door and the floor of the restaurant. So last night I was checking in with one of the maitre d's at the spots to see how it was, and she said it was bleak and weird, because this whole thing is, yes, bleak and weird. And she said, did you get anything like this? And she sent me a screenshot of her manager telling her the restaurants and corporate office would be closing effective first thing in the morning and that we'd all be laid off. And I said, no, I didn't get anything like that. So I reached out to a bartender at one of the other restaurants and asked if she had any tea, and she said the same, and that no one there had been transparent with that this was happening. So I checked in with one of my managers, not my department head, but a manager with whom I'm very close, and I said, is this true? And he said yes. And I got very upset, because that same manager, he said he'd known since 6 p.m., and this conversation was happening at almost 11 o'clock at night. And I went to bed very upset, and I woke up around 10 a.m. very upset, because no one had officially tried to contact me in the interim to let me know I had no job. I finally got the call at noon today, and asking about health insurance and unemployment, I was told they didn't have answers for that quite yet. So I kind of zoned out and disassociated myself and tried to masturbate, but couldn't quite, and get myself there, to get in a sort of mood to get myself there. And I thought about groceries, and I called my grandpa, and he was very sad to hear his grandson's out of a job, and I told him I was worried and asked him if he had enough groceries to get through whatever it is we're about to get through, and he said they have enough food to last for a while if they need to, and if they need to, they can go to the drive-thru at Wendy's. And then he said, you know, I'm getting old. You're going to get through this, and you'll be able to say when you're old that you lived through this. And he said, me, I'm old, and I've never seen anything like this. And he said, this is going to be destructive to a lot of things. And he said, you're well equipped to get through this, but me, your grandma, and your other grandma, we're old. And I told him, well, that's why I'm worried about you, and I want to make sure that you're taking care of yourselves through all of this. And he said, don't worry about me. And he asked me how I was going to pay rent, and I said, I'm working on it. And he said, there's got to be some relief coming, right? And he said, the government is realizing it might have to take care of the people. And he said, no one could have predicted this. And he said, a lot of stuff is going to change, isn't it? The last few days have been filled with adjustments, from worrying sick that I might get laid off, to dreading the inevitability of when, to acceptance that it's happened, to the pause where you think, well, fuck, now what? Now what indeed? The adjustment to figuring out how to be productive when working from home while you're out of work, and the adjustment to figuring out a new work schedule for writing, figuring out how to wake up timely daily, figuring out how to read books without getting distracted by the internet again, figuring out whether or not it's worth it to go to the store to grab something for a recipe, or if you should just stay home and make do with what you have, figuring out how quickly I'll tire of the seltzer you rely on to keep you from drinking, figuring out how to work, figuring out how to live and survive and thrive during these strange times, figuring out what tomorrow looks like and sounds like and smells like, when yesterday your definition of what today would be was entirely different. So for now, I'm letting myself breathe. I think I'm letting myself breathe. It's my roommate's birthday, and it's a Monday, so I'll have to make it special somehow. So I think I'll go make a curry and celebrate my roommate surviving another trip around the sun and all of us surviving another trip around the Earth's axis, and watch something happy tonight and maybe dance and take a shower and wake up in the morning and continue to adjust. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Hey again, everyone. Make sure that if you can, and you like what you're seeing, and you want to just support the arts in general, go donate at donate right here, thetankyc.org. So our next piece coming up is from Yvette. Yvette is a belly dancer. In this belly dance improv piece, she wrote this about: connecting with Mother Earth is not only a gift, but a responsibility. We need to acknowledge her, respect her, and love her. All right. Hey everyone, once again. Our next piece is from Suzelle. She's performing a recent show at the Tank, Birthday in the Bronx, and this is her piece.
Hello everybody, my name is Suzelle Palacios, and thank you so much to eTank for having me today. I'm really excited to be part of this, as well as see what everyone else brings today. Whether it's dance or poetry or ideas or sonnets, as I will share in just a little bit. I just want to say that I am so excited to see people being proactive about staying connected and continue artistry through other platforms that's not face to face and I think that it's a really great way to start to see the evolution can make art and how we can present it, and also reach people that maybe don't have the accessibility to go to the theaters, or the financial capability to cover ticket costs, and how do we give them the opportunity to see art and experience art with us. And I think that is a blessing in all the despair that we're seeing right now, is taking advantage of how we can exercise these muscles. It's important for people to stay safe, but it's also important for us to stay sane. And if you're an artist like me, you know, art and theater and music and dance are the things that keep me sane and keep me grounded in these moments that we have going on right now. Stay informed, stay, you know, on top of like what's going on, but still enjoy yourself as you can within your art. Write a story, do some creative writings, just sit down, put a timer on, and just write and see what comes out. Try poetry if you've never tried to write poetry before. Pick up an instrument that you were been meaning to pick up. I have my ukulele in the corner that I haven't touched since December, and I'm gonna go and try and practice that, and try to connect with people and say, hey, let's have a jam session, even if it's just through Skype, or touch up on some old monologues and things that you haven't really looked at in a while, and take this time to dive in deeper, and find ways to express your art that aren't just solely on a stage in front of people. So I would love to share a little bit of a sonnet, and I want to say that it's important to take care of yourself and stay connected. Reach out to those people who you haven't talked to yet while all this is going on. Some people are really struggling with stress or emotional stress, financial stress, all those things. Those are all valid, and it's important to check on those people and ask them if they're okay and if there's anything we can do to help them. And today I would love to share Sonnet 21, and hopefully I will hear from you guys. Stay connected. Let me know what your favorite sonnet is. Let me know what your favorite bit of poetry is, or poetry that you've written that you would love to share. I would love to read it. So this is Sonnet 21. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. When in disgrace with fortune in men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate. Wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, happily I think on thee. And then my state, like to the lark of break of day arising from soul and earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, once again, that was great. I'm going to try to remember which hand this is. Donate to the tank. Alrighty, so our next piece coming up is from Emery, and it is an excerpt from a show at the tank. My name is Allison. In this 5-minute excerpt, we're about to meet Allison, Julian, her highly anticipated blind date for the evening. Trish and Pete have just come off of a tense conversation where they stand today, as they have quite the complicated romantic past, and they are about to realize that Allison is nothing like they anticipated, and have no idea what's about to happen to them this evening. Alright, let's watch.
Hi.
Hi,
Allison?
Julian.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, good. Wouldn't have wanted to knock on the wrong door.
Me neither.
I'm glad I didn't.
Me neither.
Would you like to come in?
Would you like to come in?
Yes, thank you. Hi, I'm Allison. I know you're probably shocked. Most people say my voice does not match my appearance, and I'm like, what does that even mean? I didn't know there'd be other people here.
I thought I told you. I didn't? Damn it, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I love friends.
Allison, this is Trish and Pete.
Hi. You look really nice, Julian.
Thanks. You do too.
Before we start playing a game, I just have a quick question. So
Yeah, good. You can ask. You're.
Okay.
Are you gonna ask?
It's actually 2 questions.
Go ahead.
Okay. So for my first question, I guess I was just kind of wondering if this thing here was sort of like, you know, like if this thing that we're doing, if this is sort of like kind of like a group sex thing.
Why would you think that? Why would
No.
you think
No.
that?
We don't do that.
Okay, thank goodness. I was just so worried when I came in and saw more than one person here, there would be group sex. Not that group sex is bad. Have any of you guys ever done that? And by that, I mean, have an orgy? I've never done it, nor do I think it'd be something I'd be interested in, but I do think it's a perfectly valid way to express love. I work with a girl who's polyamorous. She has 3 male partners and she has 3 female partners and one, I don't know. Anyway, I'm totally like, you go, girl. She has a picture of all of them on her desk. Apparently, one of the men broke up with the other woman, and now cuddling between them is like super weird. Like they have to arrange themselves so that those 2 aren't touching. So empowering, though. Wow. I wish I was that comfortable with my sexuality, but I'm just not. Yet. Maybe it comes with age. Although she's 30 and I'm 26, so I'm not that far off. Anyways, totally glad this isn't group sex, even though I'm a full supporter of people who do that. I'm very open-minded. My parents are super liberal, which is so ironic because they're from the South. Darn it, I forgot my second question.
What are you looking for?
Surely not.
You seem familiar.
I have one of those faces.
So, Allison, are you from around here?
Kind of.
Where about?
About.
About where?
What? Oh, you're asking where I live?
I mean, you don't have to tell me.
I was
if you want to.
confused. What did you mean by around here? Around this city, this state, this neighborhood, this world?
Never mind.
Awkward silence.
I love when people say that.
Can I give you the grand tour?
I would love that.
After you.
You're so chivalrous.
You are.
Well, that's the thing that happened.
Wow.
I know I've seen her before.
This kind of makes sense, though.
What does?
Julie and her, they're kind
Yeah, I actually think so.
of. I kind of do.
You never believed in soulmates before.
I still don't. More like a lid for every pot kind of situation.
Could be. I don't know. Interesting to, for a sexual
No,
kind of
my
situation
God!
with a sock puppet. I'm just trying to relate to what Julie might see in Allison.
Let's not talk to each other for an extended period of time. What are you doing?
Investigating? What kind of fucked up shit you think's in here?
And that's the whole place. It's not much, but it's home.
It's lovely. And I love all the posters in your bedroom. Are you a fan of M. Night?
Oh,
He is my hero. Have you seen any of his films?
Only The Village. What a twist at the end!
Wait, that's not even his best one. I have so much to show you.
Hey again, everyone. So up next is a special message from Daniel King, our managing producer.
Hi, CyberTank. Hey, everyone. I'm so excited about the launch of this, and am excited to see what it brings up and how it changes and how it evolves over this time when we can't be together. It's breaking our hearts that we can't be with you right now, but we are resilient, and we will persevere, and the tank has a long history of that, and you as artists have a long history of being creative and being amazing problem solvers and persevering and bringing us all with you, and forging new paths. So this is one of them, and you all are going to do it, and I thank you so much to all of you for participating in this, and for trying to make sure we have ways of artistic expression during this really difficult time. Next time I'll try not to cry, okay? All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Okay, cool. Remember to donate to the tank at thetanknyc.org. This next piece is mine. It's just a hip hop beat and a video I edited and something I just made and put together real quick. Hopefully you'll like it.
About the story that you're always being locked in the basement in order to paint.
Oh, that's just it has a nasty edge to it, you know. I mean, I was never locked anywhere. I mean, if I was white, they would just say artist in residence rather than say all that other stuff.
No.
It's shocking to think that long ago, the early 80s.
I've had this a lot. Most of my reviews have been more reviews on
your personality.
On my personality, yeah, more so than my work mostly.
How do you react to that sort of thing?
They're just racist, most of these people.
I know it affected him strongly. It was very tough on him.
They have this image of me, wild man running, wild monkey man, whatever the fuck is.
There's this tendency to say, well, he's a primitive artist. But he was a kid who grew up in New York City in the 1970s and 80s. What the art world did to him reminds me of what happens at various points in Black history to Black artists. You become a representation for white people of all Black people, because you're the only Black person they know.
That's it. This next piece is from Tank Regular, and it's from the series that she created, Necromancers of the Public Domain. Necromancers of the Public Domain is a Theater of the Apes monthly series wherein an aged book is resurrected as a one-night-only variety show. The following act that we're about to see from a former performance was written less than 24 hours before the performance, and it was inspired by the book New York, the Nation's Metropolis, written in 1921 by artist Peter Marcus, and features series creator Anne Holliday, accompanied by the audience and a slideshow of illustrations from the book. Anne also costume designed and played Miriam in the Tank's recent co-production of I Am Nobody. Let's watch.
So I wrote this yesterday at 5 o'clock because I have discovered, after having a really mean music teacher in high school, that I actually like singing. It only took me I'm 54, and I don't know, I had him when I was about 15, so you do the math, but I like it now. Don't play any instruments very well, and I wrote it at 5, and I went to my ukulele, and I'm like, oh, this is too hard. So you're gonna help me. I'm just gonna kind of march from side to side. Maybe we can get a little snapping in or something, okay? I crossed the Brooklyn Bridge by car and foot and bike. The MetLife Tower is an edifice I like. The Fulton Fairyland, and let's go see the brides pose against the sky. Water taxi rides, but of all the main attractions in this great city, which Peter Marcus seemed to love as much as me, there's still one major highlight that I've yet to see. I ain't never been to Grantstone. I've never been on Broadway, but I hit Times Square, sidestep the naked cow and the Elmos there, down Fifth Avenue, give Trump a big Bronx cheer. Please bless St. Pat's for keeping Easter queer. And I spent a quarter century wandering up and down. I come before you now in ratty evening gown to say of all the fabled sights in this here town that I ain't never been to Grantstone. Just 15 minutes walk to St. John the Divine. His crazy peace fountain's a favorite of mine. I can't resist Grand Central's famous whispering walls, of watching Wall Street tourists cut that bronze bull's balls. But of all the charcoal drawings in this lovely book, of all the mental photos Peter Marcus took, of grand surviving landmarks still well worth a look, I ain't never been, everybody! She ain't never been! I ain't never been! She ain't never been! I ain't never been to
Great. Hey, once again, everyone. Remember to. It's so hard to put a position. Donate. It would be great. And got a long time to go. So, our next piece is by Ran. Ran is a resident artist at the Tank. She recently wrote and directed the Tank co-production In Blue, and she has this to say about her piece. Just before the COVID-19 outbreak, I embarked on a train trip across the United States and talked to many strangers. Well, as many as I could, and as an introvert, you know. So she wrote down some of the travel logs, and she's sharing a piece of it with you here. Let's watch.
Day 5, February 13th, Southwest Cheese from Chicago to Albuquerque. I'm headed there for a solo Valentine's Day. Seat 54. You're going on a slow ride, says the conductor and puts me next to a guy who's getting off in an hour. I started to talk to the apple-cheeked man heading home with his dad and uncle from Chicago after an auto show. He runs a funeral home. I'm leaving cold Chicago after warm reunions with wayward friends. Both of us made our way there for different reasons. Red and pastel blue horses by the creek outside. Skeletal branches carrying clumps of snow. Sun glow along the horizon. The night's about to fall. It's important to listen to waltz on a train as it sways through the wind and snow and imagine dancing, whether you know how to do it or not. Because, darling, 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 because there's always someone on your mind. It's a scurry of snow out of the window on my left and big blue sky, cotton candy clouds on my right. Miles and miles of flat farmland stretches out till you can just make out the waves of the hills in the distance. And imagine what it looks like if a bird flies across. How lonely would it be, slicing across, but how liberating. You can tell the ebb and flow, the rising and falling of the land from the tracks, but I imagine as the wind caresses the curves of the earth, it's a gentleness we cannot fathom. I have a romanticized notion of what life might be in different areas of the States, what it might be like living on a farm, a city girl longing for the butter churning, wood stove cracking farm life is probably not even 10% of the life here. I can't imagine living somewhere where there is no public transportation and that it might be hours before the nearest chain restaurant. And imagine it must be nice in some ways, except growing up in Shanghai and living in New York City for the last decade, it might take me a long time to get used to anything else. It's 6:16. There's a stroke of rainbow descending east of the setting sun. My God. My God. A lazy brush of pink on the snow, lavender skies behind the mossy trees. It's a different view from the lower deck. We're 10 minutes away from Port Madison when I caught a peek as the train cut across a body of water. The waves glow darkly as though it's not liquid but crushed velvet. The most expensive meal I've had in a long time was in the dining car of the Southwest Chief. 8 p.m. slot, baked, manicotti, a little overcooked, perhaps. $16.50, plus tips. I sit across from two girls from Queens. They've come all the way from New York City during their break to spend just one day in LA. Their first time there. They decided to take 3 days of Amtrak because one of them saw the sceneries on TikTok. I spent quite a while convincing them that I am indeed 30 years old. The most expensive meal I've had in a long time, I had it alone while sharing a laugh with two perfect strangers. We planned on meeting again, perhaps at breakfast, and lamented on the lack of shower in coach. Alas, I won't see them in a cafe car or buy them a beer because they're both 20. I won't see them the rest of the way either. I'm getting off in Albuquerque as they continue on all the way to LA. I'll get there too, soon enough. I wonder if my trip would have been different had I been 20.
There again, that was great. Remember, we've raised money so far, apparently $75, which is great for a first-time experiment. Also, my hand looks incredibly big when I do this. So remember to donate to the tank at thetanknyc.org. So next up, we have Nikki's piece, and this is a rough draft of a song for his first album that will follow his voice as it deepens through transition. Let's listen.
Is who you are mirrored in a stranger's eyes? Is who you are reflected in the mirror? Or is who you are clearer by the next sunrise? Today who I am is not someone I want to be. Today who I am someone no one else believes. Today who I am is who I am today. It's gotta be enough for me. Who should you be when you're told you're loved for all the things you're not? Who could we be if we weren't caught up in someone else's But for today, who we are is clearer than we were before. Today, who we are is strong and coming back for more. Today, who we are is kicking down a closet door. And who we are today is in good company. It's gonna be enough for me.
There you go. That was wonderful. So I know that this social distancing is rough for everyone. But if you think that you're losing your mind, Melania's stuck with Donald right now, and she has a few words for us. She has a few words for us, and she's going to share a segment from the Melania Trump Roadshow called "The Fashion Police of Politics." Tune in weekly as Melania will share the ins and outs of not leaving the White House, her favorite activity, and being stuck with Donald.
Hi fans, Melania here. I hope you're doing very well with all of this corona stuff. For me, on one hand, I like the social distancing. It comes natural to me. On the other, I have to be cooped up with my Donald. But I think it will be fine. We have all the corona test kits out there, and Mike Pence, who does not believe in science, bless them. So, for you who are home today, I would like to give you a little taste of my show. So be best and bye.
There are obvious people, go to the next slide, just do this to go to the next slide. Obvious people we can make fun of, right? In the Washington of DC. That's next slide, sir. Oh no. Obvious people.
Oh.
This press it again. This one I call the bow tie cookie. The shirt. Okay. Next slide. Okay. This one, at least we know where they got the inspiration for this. Right? Okay. Next slide. Doesn't he always look like he just dug himself out of his own shallow grave? Right? Okay. All right. Next slide. Oh, him. I want to talk really about the people who really get my goats in the corral. Okay, this one. Every time I look at his eyes, I think, is he booting up, or maybe he's preparing for role on, next slide, Westworld. Press again. Westworld. Is he preparing for the role in Westworld? Okay, next one. Okay, here we go. Democratic of the candidates. Okay, ready? Okay. All right, Elizabeth Warren. Every day she wears the same thing. Black shirt, black pants. She wears a ring, earrings, and then she pins a pin to her lapel of a jewel-toned jacket. Keep going through. Every day, keep going. A jewel-toned jacket. Oh my God, this woman has a plan for literally everything. I almost scared. There's more. Jewel-toned jacket. This one is terrifying. Okay, stop there. Thank you. All right. Next one, Bernie Sanders. He always looks like he's wearing his father's suit. Right? Next, here we go. Okay, this is a screenshot from his audition tape to play a homicide detective on Law and Order. Okay. All right, this one, what's his name? Who is he again? Okay. Michael Bennett, right? Okay. Shame on him for those eyebrows, 2 times. Eyebrows, next slide. Wax, please, 2 times. All right, next one, okay. Gillibrand, okay. Didn't have a chance in hell. Why? Looks too much like Hillary. Okay, next one. Okay, Steve Bullock, no chance. Why? Looks like Kavanaugh. But Kavanaugh after having some Metamucil. It's unfortunate because for Republicans, looking like rapists is a selling point. Wow. Right? Okay, all right, next. All right, irony, that's cutting too hard. Okay, next. All right, Hickenlooper. He is crazy about the climate change. Put the bow tie on him, you get Bill Nye! All right, next slide. All right, now we come to the Joe Lee Biden. I have so much respect for Joe Lee Biden. He has the most brave and daring facelift in American politics. You don't see it. But Melania see everything from my big experience with the kidney operations. So Joe turned that frown upside down! Thank you everyone for Fashion Police of Politics, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Let's all wish her luck as she stays in the White House. Our next piece is from former intern, Tank Gala producer, and all-around star Gina. She wrote this to say about what she has submitted. In a time of uncertainty, we can all take stock of what's important: our health, our relationships, and explore how we can join others and cultivate joy in new ways. Biddy brings me joy. I hope she brings you joy too. She takes requests. She has almost no follow-through, but she always takes them. All right, let's see what she has in store.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Billy Charleston here. Coming to you live from New York. It's Tuesday morning. I got a ukulele here. We got a situation. We got a situation going on. And you know what? It's gonna be okay. 'Cause sometimes when you got a situation, you just gotta sing. You gotta sing about it. You just gotta sing your troubles. Just sing them out. Get them out of your body. And we're gonna do that here today. Yeah. All right. This is it's not looking too good, but it wasn't looking too good for this guy either. And now I look fabulous. All right. This song would warm my heart if I had one. Don't know why there's no sign up in the sky. Stormy wind.
Hey folks, we're having some technical difficulties with that last video. Give us one moment, and we're gonna try to get things all fixed up. 1 second. One moment. Just 1 second. All right, we are back. Giving you one more take at Biddy's performance. Thank you for your patience. We love you. Thank you for supporting us. Give it one more go. One more go. As always. It's gonna take a quick second. Media source. Where is it? At existing. Gina. Oh god, it's so bad.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Billy Charleston here. Coming to you live from New York. It's Tuesday morning. I got a ukulele here. We got a situation. We got a situation going on. And you know what? It's gonna be okay. Because sometimes when you got a situation, you just gotta sing. You gotta sing about it. You just gotta sing your troubles. Just sing them out.
Hey everyone, looks like we're having some serious difficulties with that piece. Sorry, Gina, we'll make sure to get this worked out for next week. Thank you all for bearing with that. It's an experiment. It's a lot of new things for us. We've never done e-theater or live stream theater or a CyberTank before. So a lot of things to learn about this. Our next piece coming up is from the Flight Recorder reading series. Started by Mike. It's a poetry reading series. And this first piece is from Mike. It's a poem about climate change and how we feel when we feel that the world like it's ending.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike. I run the Flight Recorder reading series at the Tank. It's a bi-monthly poetry reading. Our third show was going to be last night. Obviously that didn't happen for very good reason. So I'm so happy to be here today with all of you creating art from a distance. So, since it's the end of the world and since it's raining outside, I'm going to read a poem about both of those things. This is called After the Bramble K. Malomus. The first mammal has gone extinct due to climate change, so I am building an ark. I am papering over the hull with poetry, but water will leak in through the line breaks, so I am papering over the poetry with prose poetry. In this metaphor, we are the animals. I saw a rat at Canal Street last night. I was drunk, stumbling home. It was hugging the wall, running to the end of the platform and then off into the dark. When I am drunk, stumbling on train platforms, I hug the walls too. I thought then of the Malomus, an Australian rodent native to Bramble Cay, a low island in a rising sea. I thought about lemmings and cliffs. I thought about rats and sinking ships. In this metaphor, we're the ark. In the moment, I wanted to name the rat. In the moment, I wanted to name myself. I have become a creature of moments, of short-term joys and consequences. So, when I'm stumbling on train platforms, I worry about tumbling into the dark, not cirrhosis. I don't think about my liver anymore. Not when it's raining like this, like it rained yesterday and before, like it will rain for 40 days and 40 nights, or 40 times 40, or 40 to the 40th power, which is 40 times 40, 40 times. I think. I struggle with math when I'm drunk. I struggle with word order too, which is why I don't know whether we need to save poetry or be saved by it. On the ark, then, there will be room for two of every type of poem. I will bring too many elegies, though. A boat full of book-length elegies for dearly departed adult sons and beloved wives. I am compensating for the inevitable never of my beloved wife, of my adult son. In this metaphor, we are the righteous man. In this metaphor, we are the dove. In this metaphor, we are the flood. Thank you.
Hey friends, My name's Constantine Jones, and my dear friend Mike invited me to record a few minutes of poems for you. So here I am from my bed in front of my wall of icons protected by the saints, and my roommate Joey is on the phone behind me. So if some of his conversation makes its way into this video, then maybe that'll be cute too. Anyway, I was trying to think what would be like uplifting, or what would be good to read today in the middle of all of this. So there's a few poems or movements or whatever the hell from this manuscript of mine called The Gut, which I'd like to share. So may they bring you warmth. Footnote to politics. 1. From the Greek word politika, which is mean affairs of the cities. Polis being the Greek word for city, which is mean all the people coming together living in a single place, which is mean the world, being the single place everybody's been being already together. Cosmos, which has come from the Greek word which is mean everything making sense together, which is mean nothing coming along to make a mess of the whole thing, throw it into chaos. Which has come from the Greek word which is mean gap, abyss, formless void, place before matter. Consider matter with two meanings. One which is mean all ta pragmata which make up the other stuff, the stuff of stuff. Also matter which is mean the important things to people. A few important things. Food. Shelter. That thing that lets you walk down a street, any street, pick one where it doesn't mean danger is there, because you are you, because it heard you were coming. Water, affection, the love of another, someone across the table asking you, "Efegis tipota koma," which is one way to say, remember your last bite is your strength, which is one Greek boy's mother's way of to say, stay full. A new term, spiti, being the Greek word for house, but also household, i.e. not only you, but those attached to you, i.e. those you love, also those you do not know, also those you never will. Politika, made up of ola taspitia, made up of everybody being in the same being placed together, which is mean, you can't ignore it. Not if you want to be being in it still. This whole book is really, this whole manuscript is just one long poem. So forgive me for sort of going off the cuff here. It's the hardest thing for me to excerpt because to me it's just one big thing. But I think I'll leave you with two things. Slideshow. Other selves I might have been, or how I'd like to come back. An incomplete list. A blue whale, female, drifting with her calf and lesbian mate. All those stolen artifacts rightfully returned to the Parthenon. A pack of Magnum condoms, empty because I actually used them. All those drawings tacked up on Doug's walls, he says they're no good. Those bleach blue clouds behind Pete Burns looking ghostly white on the cover of Mad, Bad, and Dangerous to Know. Ellen Ripley's line in Alien Resurrection, I'm the monster's mother. Those blue suede shoes what boarded the plane. The bits of Sappho what didn't survive. That hyphen connecting between Greek American. The blue dress my yaya, I mean my mother's mother, Wore to my nono's wedding in that room. She is still alive, everybody watching her dance Esirto. So much of this is constructed like a photo album or there are many poems in here with the same, or many pieces with the same title. So there's like slideshows and family photo albums and soundtracks and home videos. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is Vespers, which are evening prayers. On those same evening couches, TV going, cut cantaloupe in the glass bowl meant for not using, we listened to the score. My sister still shy of our feet, draped across the cross-knit arms, where my mother reclines, mentioning always something simple to my father on the floor. In a film, I adjust our contrast, so none among us come overexposed. Let the album skip to remember in this song, it is always in this song, it is always the bridge in this song, it is always the bridge, it is always, it is always, it is always, it is always.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching once again. Remember to donate. That last series of poems was from Flight Recorder poet Constantine, and those poems were small fragments of a larger unpublished body of work called The Gut, and they have this to say about that piece. I consider the entire manuscript one long poem separated into distinct movements, like a play or a piece of music. At the same time, many movements share similar names. Family photo album, home video, a note on the text, etc. Essentially an attempt to record my version of a place that no longer exists as I knew it. The Gut gets its title from a joke my younger sister used to make, her nickname for our small Tennessee thing. So the next piece and the last piece of this CyberTank episode, series, performance, question mark? I don't know. It's from the poet Julia, and these three poems are all new poems written over the past 2 to 3 weeks. They all continue themes that were introduced in the debut poetry collection Do Not Return, namely the dark legacy of Nazis in Germany, getting older and not finding love, but maybe something else, and the search. Alrighty, let's watch.
Hi everyone. My name is Julia Knobloch. I'm a poet and I'm super excited to be part of the CyberTank virtual performance, and I'm glad that you're all here. I'm going to read 3 new poems. They all continue themes that I've been working on over the past years, and this one theme is the dark legacy of the Nazis everywhere, but especially in Germany. And it is called Strandbad Wannsee, Strandbad being like a public beach, like a public pool, and Wannsee is one of the largest lakes in Berlin. And Wannsee is also known as being the location of the Wannsee Conference, where the Nazis decided the total destruction of the Jewish people. Strandbad Wannsee. Sheep clouds and sandy lights, white sails and motorboats. This summer escape was built in 1907 for the working class of Berlin who could not afford the Baltic Sea. Then and now a crowded beach, young women posing in deck chairs, pine cones, yellow flowers, soda fizzing red and green in leafy shadows. One afternoon we plowed, arms hooked, through shallow water, the ferry to Peacock Island cruising in the distance, the reed grass rustling in the sudden silence. That's how you find a drowned body, the lifeguard said. by marching as one long chain of humans. The loudspeaker blared the parents of little Mary, dotted swimsuit, 4 years old, were waiting for her at the lifeguard station. And I thought of the cheery post-war tune, sung by an 8-year-old, the little Cornelia, about children riding their bikes out to Wannsee, underneath a canopy of pines and patches of blue sky. The song didn't exist in 1940, neither did little Cornelia. She was born almost 4 years later, and it was January, but the view and shoreline were the same. The Strandbad across the lake closed for the season. Did any of them let their mind wander to the summer ahead, to riding their bikes through the forest, running into the cool, soft Wannsee, lifting their daughter up into the air, water dripping from her blonde curls? The next poem continues another theme of my work, which is getting older. Summer solstice in Joshua Tree Park. When I first heard about the trees in 1987, I didn't know that scientists say the giant ground sloth, now extinct, dispersed their seeds more than 13,000 years ago, and soon the trees might disappear because the desert has become too hot. In the east, I dreamed of places I had not seen, of a time when traveling seemed a birthright, when I owned miles and years, when life didn't seem to run out before the summer solstice. In the east, the days were getting longer but not warmer. The sun moved forward present but unseen. It was already late when I reached out to you, bold enough to hope you might have love for me and make the sun stand still. Yet weary, like Moses, hitting the rock twice. I dragged one night's magic out into glaring light and tainted it with lies about cheap pleasure. You spoke your truth. I didn't find what I was looking for, but saw the trees out west. And this last one continues yet another theme that I've been working on, and that's also came up in this previous poem, which is the search for a place and the search from east to west and trying to find a home. It's called Los Angeles. The palm trees are not native, the Uber driver says. To me, they look like they have always been here. Persimmons and pomelos hang heavy over hedges, promising a million gardens behind green screens. The land where the citruns blossom, maybe it is here. Light and shadow on scrub tiles, the chlorinated cleanliness of hot places. In turn for another love denied, here's another city promising to take me in, almost haphazardly, allowing me to study truth and look beyond. The universe reminding me that balance can be found, even on shaky grounds of tar and oil. Waves embrace me, hills invite me to ascend. Plantain plants reach out and whisper, touch me. When I first came here, I came because of death. I could not unsee magnolias behind black mirrors. I dreamed of violet and pink bushes, caressing my cheeks and copper hair, of one day returning to this intersection for the sake of life. Thank you very much. I made a mistake in the reading right now, but I've been recording this several times, and this is just what it's going to be. And have fun. Bye.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of CyberTank. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Once again, just to remind you, donate to the tank. It really will go super far, and we appreciate everyone listening and watching and consuming this theater and everyone's art in these, frankly, very different and confusing times that I don't think most of us have any precise experience of how to navigate. Thank you very much. Please support the Tank. Go to thetanknyc.org, and we will eventually be posting more. If you also want to submit and get some more of these weekly episodes out and potentially putting out other streaming content. So thank you, and everyone, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Technical resident Christian Roberson signing out. Thank you.